Manchester United 6, Leeds 2 in what was a fantastic performance by Manchester United. I'm Old Man G, live from the studio. If you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Smash that notification so you know when we're live. Follow us on Twitter, UnitedX, and get involved. I put a link out. I see a few people in the back. I see you, Damian Perez. We're going to get a few people on just before I do a brief semi-brief reaction to what was a fantastic win by Manchester United. And as I said in the preview, is it too early to talk about being title challengers? Is it too early? We are a third of the way through the season now. A third of the games have been played in the Premier League season. And Manchester United, with a game in hand, we are now third place with a game in hand, and we're in a good position. And to be honest, I did not think I was going to be saying these words after the transfer window this season. If you go back to my previous videos, I said that with the transfer window we've had, with the backing, you know what? It's going to be fourth, maybe fifth, most likely fifth with what's going on, with what all the other teams around us, what Arsenal were doing, with what Chelsea were doing, with what so many teams did in the transfer market, and I thought we would struggle. We are where we are. I was told Arteta. I was told Mikel Arteta was better than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I was told Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was going to be sacked by Christmas. Let me know in the comments, guys. Do you think Ole's going to be sacked by Christmas? Which one's more likely? Ole, Lampard, or Arteta? Please let me know in the comments. That's good, because that's not happening. And Manchester United are in a brilliant position. I'll get to the game. First and foremost, Ole, masterclass. Mo, shout out to you, Mo. Cogman, McMahon has risen. Man, Scott McTominay, man. Magnificent Mctominay is a title to his thing, because even though I actually don't think he's the man of match. No, actually, I will give it to him. Because even in the second half, he got an assist, I think, in that one. The guy was almost playing like prime Iniesta. Some of those touches and those balls and those turns, man, he was absolutely, absolutely phenomenal. I was one of the people that was like, come on, Ollie. Paul Pogba had played very well in the last two games. Why not give him a shout? And there were a lot of Manchester United fans that were angry at Ole Gunnar Solskjaer for dropping Paul Pogba. Let's be real. Scott McTominay had a Pogba-esque performance today. I didn't even think he was the holding midfielder. I don't know what he was doing. What was he doing? What was he doing? And I'm one of McTominay's harshest critics. I really, really am. I see Sean in the comments. I see Sean backstage. He knows that I'm one of McTominay's harshest critics. Even I've got to take the L today. I have got to take the L. But Scott McTominay had a brilliant performance today. And what can you say? What can you say? It was great. In fact, let me get these guys in. We just quickly read these comments. Let me get these guys in. I watch his Leighton Steel tomorrow morning. Fair enough, Benny, Mo, Rashi, McTominay, Fred, Bruno, and even Marshall, despite it, because Mrs. Wexon. Yeah, I mean, Martial, man. If Martial could finish, this could have been 8. This really could have been 8 if Martial could finish, so that. But what I would say about that is that a win like this still breeds confidence. You saw, for example, when Daniel James got his goal, again, the confidence that would bring him. You know what I mean? So these types of games, this is why these types of things are important, because they bring confidence out the whole team. We're going to go away to Leicester. Bearing in mind our away from home is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to go into that Leicester game with confidence. I know we have Everton midweek. I don't really care about the Carabao Cup, to be honest. Just even play a Garlo. I honestly don't care what happens in that game, because I feel like we're in a good position where I want less games. I'm not saying I don't want a trophy, but if it means less games to play in such a fixtured congestion, then whatever happens against Everton, I'm not bothered. Raymond Moore, long time no speak. Long time no speak, Raymond. Long time. Great win. Come on, United. Run is the opposite for Scott McTominay. I definitely hear that. Built on in saying Manchester United winning the EPL this season. Stop it. Stop it. Manchester United are not the favourites. Chelsea are the favourites. Okay? Tell that to HH, because Chelsea spent 200 million in the summer. They must be the favourites. Okay? If Chelsea lose to West Ham tomorrow, right, and lose and we win, we'll be 7 points clear of them. That can't happen. Let me get these guys in as we break down the game, because I'm aghast right now. Let me get Aaron, Sean, guys. Not bad for a PE teacher, Sean.
Listen, I got to be honest about it. A couple things. I mean, listen, I feel like our fan base is one that we get overly gassed.
Of course.
I've already saw on football Twitter and on YouTube how, of course, we're going to win the league. And Scott McTominay is all of a sudden the second coming of Riquelme. We have not bad for a PE teacher. I've been seeing that a lot. Let's be honest. Leeds, Bielsa said it. He's like, look, I could go there and get a point if I wanted, but that's not how I play. He's like, everyone knows how you can do it. This is how you do it, but we're going to play our way. So hats off to them. Fair play to them. They came and played their way. But here's the thing. We all know styles make fights. Our style is the worst possible setup for Leeds with how they play, with our quality, our speed, and our style. Because while I don't think that Ollie is the best guy for the job, I'll say this. The guy can coach a counterattack. He can coach to get out on the break, to get that quick press, win the ball, and go forward. He coaches that well, in my opinion. So we are a terrible matchup for Leeds, and I love it because they are scum. Some of the stuff I saw on football Twitter, not just the racist stuff, but the Munich stuff. You know, But listen, hats off, man.
We are their biggest rivals, and I mean, put this away, and I think part of the reason why I'm gassed is I get that live rivalry as well. It's not even so much. It's the fact that it's Leeds. It's the fact that like these guys. I don't know what I mean. You're enough to know, like back in the day, Ellero and stuff like that.
We hate them.
Stuff like that. Disgusting guys, and so they generally thought they want to come. You know what I mean?
I love it. It's just how reaction. I'm not you, G. I'm talking about our fan base in general. How now after this game, it'll be all the Ollie in folks. It's like what? And then if the next game we lose, all the hyper Ollie out folks. Will be It's just annoying. But I'll say this.
Yeah, go on, man.
McPassion, best knee slides in the game. Listen, I give the guy a lot of stick, but here's why. Because he's not good defensively, and he has no business playing as a CDM. Scott fancies himself as a 10, and he played striker in the academy.
Yeah.
He played as a box-to-box 8 today. He played more of Pogba's role.
Exactly, I agree.
How Pogba should be played. And I thought he played well. So I'm the first one to sit back and say, man of the match, because I give credit where it's due. But, I mean, these guys are like, see, I told you. It was one game, bro. If we have Scott McTominay and Fred as a defensive double pivot of 4-2-3-1 all season, we'll be lucky to make top 4. It's not yet on the title challenge.
It goes to show you, again, just about positioning, because I've always said that Scott McTominay is not a CDM. So if you played Scott McTominay in that, then he actually might be okay. But if you're now trying to make this guy a CDM, which he's not, Fred at least has a bit more about him in that. I'm not saying even Fred is a CDM, but he has a bit more about him in that position, and I think McTominay has in terms of his intention and what he does, which I think is still important for us.
What do you think about him in these type of games? Like, I like him for these rivalry games.
I mean, McTominay, against because even in the Manchester derby last year, not this year because it is what it is, but certainly last year you saw that. I think he gets, and a lot of the the Rashfords etc. They get that type the rivalry. So that's why even when I'm thinking when we go to Anfield, do you play McTominay? I think he probably will play McTominay and Fred away at Anfield when we go and play Liverpool. And you never know what might happen there, to be honest, So at the end of the day, like, you can only beat what's in front of you. And, whatever you say, and I've been consistent in this, where like I don't want to go against what I said at the start of the season with my prediction for Manchester United, which is, for me, top 4 with like some sort of trophy was, for me, a good season based on what I saw coming into the season, the transfer, etc. Not because that's what I want as a United fan, but just assessing the whole situation, that's what I expected.
I think that's all he's stealing. I think top 4 in a cup. I think that's what, and I would love to get that from him. I think that I think the whole fan base would be happy if we could get a few trophies, Di Matteo style, and move Ollie maybe even to a different role as a transitional manager, the guy that steadied the ship, got out to Deadwood, kind of rebirthed some things, and honestly, because anybody outside of our fan base, like anybody, any pundit, all of them don't have an agenda. No one rates this guy that he should be the Manchester United manager outside of our fan base. Nobody.
Yeah.
And you can't tell me they all have an agenda.
What I would say though is that like, and I'm just going to bring Damien in here, is that like, you know, it's also got to be balanced. If Lampard, for example, loses against West Ham, no one is going to say anything, and now he would have lost 3 games in a row. So I obviously always say, like, I just think things should be fair and balanced.
Yeah.
So
well, they're not relevant. Chelsea aren't relevant. They're only relevant since the oil money came in. So.
And Arteta, I mean, we're not even going to go into Arsenal and stuff. People saying he's a good manager. No, mate. Like, okay. Damien, I think you're backstage. What are your thoughts? Your mic's.
Yeah. You can hear me.
Can hear you, man. Go for it, man.
Yeah, I thought Leeds really played into United's hands, and I thought Bielsa. I mean, he really could have like went through the game differently, maybe not as open. Because to be honest, United should have scored maybe 8+ goals.
Yeah,
and Leeds also had a couple of chances.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Probably could have scored like maybe 2 with Rafinha's chances. But overall, I think United squad is actually pretty good. I thought it was pretty bad, but looking at it, I think if you guys can get a couple of signings, this could be a real title challenging squad and maybe a better coach. But, you know, we'll get there.
I mean, that's what I was saying, Dim. I mean, Dim, you're from what about you're a Barca fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a Barca fan.
Yeah, and so I won't talk about what's going on with Barcelona Football Club right now because it's not the time. But I do agree with you in the sense that I feel that you know, for me, the big thing, and I think I said this to Sean at one point, was getting to January. For me, the whole all in, all out, that shouldn't be where the energy should be. The energy should be directed and pressuring the board to get signings. Because if we beat Leicester next week, we're going to be in a good situation. So forget about this, or who's in this, that. We need to now be taking the board. Guys, with everything about Ollie, at the end of the day, he's in a good position. So get your ass out, get your money out, get your checkbook out, and go into the January and get us a centre-back. Get us a CDM. Get us something that can strengthen his team so that we can give him the best opportunity to actually mount a challenge with where we are. I'm not saying he's going to win, but at least give him the opportunity. Don't say, you know what, we're going to give Phil Jones a contract extension. You know, that I don't want to hear that in January.
We already gave Timbo one, right? Or at least we offered him one.
Just, you know, I don't want to hear that. You know, I really don't want to hear that from our board, from our Glazers, and you know, we need that January transfer window. We need solutions in that transfer, and if we do get solutions, then let's see what happens. To be honest, let's see what happens. You know. But so let's just briefly just dissect the game. So obviously we got hype, but just in the nature of, first and foremost, like the 2 goals by Scott McTominay. I think I literally, because I was going out to get something, so I was like, oh, you know, I looked at the team and I was like, this is, in my mind I was thinking, you know what, Leeds are gonna press us, we might make a defensive mistake, so I've got a bit of time. And I opened my Sky app, you know, because it was like 2 minutes, so I was walking out, and I was like, we're 2-0 up. What just happened? Like, I've only missed the game for 2 minutes and we're 2-0 up. And I was like, what's going on? I went back and stuff. And my goodness. And I missed the Scott McTominay goals. When I saw them, I was like, my goodness, this guy just seemed to know it. Like Sean, what are your thoughts on, like,
when you watch the first goal back? It's funny because I was having problems with my I have DirecTV and it was out. And so I had to reset all the boxes and everything. It was really irritating. But then when I watched the goals back, when I watched that first goal, Bruno's movement, what happened was, I believe it was not Bamford, Calvin Phillips maybe. Who's the midfielder got benched at halftime? It was Phillips, wasn't it?
Phillips, I think. Yeah.
So he was supposed to be tracking Bruno. They were kind of man marking through the midfield. And when they get the ball, they go so attacking that this guy, Phillips, as soon as Leeds won the ball, he took off and left. I mean, he left Bruno. He was probably 20 yards away from him, and we won the ball on the counter. And I was like, oh, they're in trouble. When you watch that goal, they were so open in the midfield. And Bruno, they could not recover. So Bruno lays it off for Scott. Quality finish. It just is what it is, man. I mean, ultimately, I agree with what our other guest said. I mean, he's spot on. Bielsa just wasn't fixing to change, and their style didn't work well for us. And you would have thought at halftime, Bielsa would be like, "Well, no, we probably should change. This will get out of hand." It should have been 12-6 today. I mean, both keepers made some phenomenal saves, to be honest with you.
I mean, that is before we go into the game. Is that like? And maybe Damien, you can give us a bit because you may be more familiar with Bielsa's football. But is this? The Premier League is very weird this season, and obviously Bielsa is very respected in football and for good reason. And he has a star and he's stubborn. But like I always say, is there an issue now that sometimes when you are stubborn, when you have a style to play, and when you're not willing to maybe change or adjust, and then obviously teams now figure out how you play because you're not going to change, is there a worry that Leeds are going to be found out that they might actually end up struggling relegation-wise, etc., because teams are now just going to be like, yeah, by all means, so let them come at us, let them do what they do, and then we'll just go and counterattack and see what happens. What are your thoughts on that, Damien?
Yeah, this is what I said in the start of the season, that with Leeds and Bielsa's how he approaches games, he really goes attacking and really presses, and he really and I think Leeds are gonna struggle in like games probably against like a Burnley, teams that set up defensively and play long balls, and I think that's might be the downfall of Leeds, and I think Bielsa is gonna have to really figure out to get that balance right, because like I think Leeds' goal just for this season is just to stay up and just go on to the next seasons and hopefully get higher and higher up the table. But I do worry for Leeds if Bielsa is still going to play like this, because he will get found out and he will have games where this Leeds team is going to struggle and they're going to struggle to get points.
I'm going to highlight this because that goal for that, I think was it the fifth goal? I think I'm so happy that Daniel James scored that. But if you see the build up with Scott McTominay for that fifth goal when he assisted Daniel James, the one to the mix of, I was like,
he overhit the pass, and Daniel James made a phenomenal first touch.
I know.
That first touch needs to be talked about.
Yeah.
I give Sonic all kinds of stick, but this is a game for him because a lot of space, open space, and he can run. And we know he's not called Sonic James for nothing. Guys, graphic.
I've always said, and I stick to this. I always said that the best games of Daniel James, and that's why I was surprised, ironically, we didn't play against Manchester City.
Exactly.
So I've always said the best games for him is because he is quick, he is fast, so he can run, and he's a winger, and he can run on this. Because I remember when we played, I think City twice last season, he was playing, and he calls their defense, especially Walker, because I think he's faster, I think, even than Kyle Walker. So if we have teams that aren't gonna be as open, although I think that teams are now starting to realize that they shouldn't be as open coming to Old Trafford or playing against us in general. If we play against open teams, you play Daniel James to go in and do the business. But you don't play him against a low block Burnley or West Brom. But yeah, definitely that fifth goal I think was pretty sweet. And as Rich says, I said there'd be space for James. Should probably been 10-3. To be honest, the way the game that was, I wouldn't have been surprised. Was any of you been surprised if it was 10-3?
No. Oh, Big Sam's back.
Big Sam is back at West Brom, which means that Arsenal,
he's taking on Peaky Blinders today.
He's I think this means that Arsenal are in trouble. Now that the relegation coach has gone in, their best hope of.
Bro, could you imagine? Now, honestly, how good would the internet be and life be if they would have sacked Arteta and hired Alardici? We'd have to change his name to coach at Arsenal, but that would be.
AFTV will get 1 billion views for that.
Hey, well. To be honest, he's currently if you look at, I mean, I don't know if I can get it up, but if you actually look at there's like a form table. I think I'm gonna Google it somewhere. And if you look at the form table in the last 10 games, I think Manchester United are second on the form table in the last 10 games. for obvious reasons because we won our last how many away games. Arsenal are 19th in the league. 19th.
They didn't beat us, they would be in a relegation scrap for real.
Yeah, no, exactly, absolutely. We actually we are the gift that keeps them giving. If we didn't give them those 3 points, but anyway, I'm not talking about that banner team. They're going to be battered by Chelsea at some point. But so obviously we're gassed. Positives. It is important to go over the negatives of the game. Maybe a few things, in my opinion. I think it is still concerning me that we still seem to be conceding from corners, back post issues and stuff. It's getting quite frustrating now. I know when you score 6, 7, 8 goals, it doesn't really matter. But in tighter games, we're seeing a pattern where we are still conceding from corners, and I'm still seeing Harry Maguire in particular not marking the tallest player. Like, be organized. Like, okay, I guess we've got zonal marking. Even if we're going to play zonal marking, at least have Maguire closer to the player that's big of a threat. It'd be like, for example, getting Fred to mark Calvert-Lewin. You don't do that. Fred is tiny. Maguire's taller. And yeah, I still see that. And that needs to be fixed. I think second as well, I think I'm getting a bit worried about Wan-Bissaka. I think some of it is tactical, but I also think some of it is now starting to be just decision-making and poor ability. Maybe he's tired because seems to be the only right back that we play at that side. But I don't know what your thoughts are on those two things, on our set pieces and Wan-Bissaka as potential negative.
I would add a third thing to that, G. Like,
yeah,
for me, Wan-Bissaka, not to be rude, but I blame the coaching. I'll tell you why. Because positionally, he's constantly called out. And as a coach, you have to see that corrected.
Okay.
And he is a grown-up human being that if he can even spell a name like Wan-Bissaka, he can figure out how to be where he needs to be on the pitch on the back post. That's kiddie stuff. So to me, that's a tactical situation that's leaving him hung out to dry. Because I remember watching him at Palace, and I just remember everyone so gassed about this guy. Even over here in the States, all the shows, he's going to look so good in blue because everyone was saying he was going to City. And I kept hearing how great this kid was going to be. And so he's played great, but then he's hot and cold. I don't know if there's something else going on, but I do think that he needs better coaching, for sure. The corner thing, I don't like zonal marking. I don't like it. But we do it, so I agree with you totally. Harry Maguire needs to mark bigger players. And again, a lot of our set piece giveaways is the back post. We do not cover the back post. And here's the thing. Why not take that extra defender and put someone on the post?
Yeah,
I don't understand that. And the third thing that's concerning me, and I made a tweet about it earlier, I'm done defending one of my favorite players.
Oh, I know where this is going.
I'm done defending my guy, Tony, because I love Tony.
Yeah.
I know Tony can finish. I know he's a 20-plus goal scorer. He showed it last year, second most goals from open play in the Premier League. His hold-up play is good. His bringing guys into the game is good. But you cannot lead the line for our club and miss some of the sitters he's missing. Something's wrong because you know as well as I do, G, he don't miss a lot of the chances we've seen him miss. Yeah. He don't miss them last season. He doesn't. I mean, and he's you put your mortgage on it. This guy. Yeah. And so I'm concerned. And as much as I love Tony, we're at the point now where it's close to Mason needs to be getting a shot down the middle and Cavani. Yeah. I hate to say it because I love Tony, but this can't continue, in my opinion.
To be honest, what I feel, and I get obviously, David, your thoughts, so what I feel is actually that Cavani or Greenwood should go for the middle and Martial should go on the left again. I think that the number 9, I still think Martial is still great coming off the left and still has got a lot to give. But I think in terms of that position, that number 9 that he wants to make his own, I think we need to just change up a bit. I'd actually like to see Rashford on the right, Cavani in the middle, and then Martial on the left. You could play Greenwood in the middle as well. That's fine. I don't know what's going to happen with Amad Diallo coming in January. Maybe he might go into 23s. We'll see what happens with that. But I agree with you. I just think that if Cavani was in that position, and I think as well with Cavani, with respect to him, he also just gives you a bit more from a number 9 in terms of his ability to head the ball. getting into the positions, etc. I always thought with Martial that he does lack a bit of that sometimes, so in terms of getting into the right positions. And when he does get into the right position, as his finishing this season has not been great, so that's something that's not really ideal. A shout out to everyone in the comments, by the way, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. And shout out to my man Worldwide Reds Show as well. Please head over to his channel as well and show this guy some support as well. Callum says, what a win as well. So let's quickly go, who would you say, guys? I mean, obviously, aside from the performance, because there's a lot of good performances. If I was to say, and I'll pass it to Damien here, of watching this game, who would have been your best three, let's say, performer for Manchester United in this game? What do you think about that, Damien?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
So, from what you saw, who would you say were your best three players?
Oh, okay.
For Manchester United,
I would say Scott McTominay. I think Bruno was pretty good. I thought he did a pretty good job.
Okay. Okay. You still got one?
Probably Lindelof. Yeah, I'll probably give it to Lindelof. I thought he had a pretty sturdy defensive performance. And, getting that goal that pretty much, I think it was the fourth goal that pretty much finished it.
The game, that's true.
Yeah, and I thought he was, did a pretty good job in the back line.
No, I don't disagree. And to be honest, I've been saying for a while that I've always said, for me, I've always felt that Lindelof is the better defender compared to Harry Maguire. And I certainly feel that if we had a tall, quicker. So, for example, if Twan-Sebi just wasn't injury prone, I'd have no problem with Twan-Sebi and Lindelof, because Twan-Sebi is good in the air as well. So if he wasn't injury prone, for me, those would be your centre back pairing. But it is what it is, and that's why I say it's very important that we go and get a centre back. Mo, obviously, the comments actually disagrees. Says no, Martial should be on the left. His overall game has been excellent, and the finishing just a matter of confidence coming back. Rashford's our best doing by far. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that he should be on the left permanently, but I just think that especially when players are in form, you do also have to look at the other players that you have, and it's unfair when you have the likes of Cavani and Greenwood that are there that also want their chance to not actually give them a chance. If Cavani wasn't playing through the 9 against Southampton, do we really come back and win that game against Southampton? Probably not. So it's all about just giving people chances. In my opinion. Sohaib says, "Come on, United! Thanks, Chief." Suspect Dreamer, who is a Madrid fan, says, "Lads, I'm happy for you. It was a very dominant one, but please don't say Ollie's back. How is this not tiring out this repetition?" No. I don't think.
You won't hear that from me.
You're not going to hear that from any sane Manchester United fan. I definitely agree with that. However, all I always say is just be fair. So be fair. So even now, despite the fact that Arsenal are 15th, I've yet to see an article that says, "Is Arteta good enough for Arsenal?" I've seen many Arsenal fans, YouTubers saying it, but in terms of the mainstream media, I've yet to see an article, and they're 15th. Yet with Ollie, if he lost today, BBC News would say, "Is he good enough for Manchester United?"
Yeah. That's why I respect that. I respect Lee Gunnar. I mean, he said it from the jump that he didn't want. And that's how I was with Ollie. I went on a radio show here in the States a few years ago when Ollie got the job. And I said, in my opinion, it was reactionary. And I got blasted even on the show. People were like, "Well, Ollie's at the wheel," and everyone was singing. I said, "No, I mean, I get it. I love the guy. I want him to do great." But I looked at it from a whole perspective of how does this guy go from mold to trying to steady this ship and fix everything. And at first, I was like, tactically, how he was setting us up, I loved it. 4-3-3, free flowing. Pogba was the best midfielder on the planet, and all this stuff was going on. But as soon as he got the job, it's like ever since then, for the majority of the time, he's coached not to lose, not to win. Not to lose his job, I should say. So he's went very defensive, more Mourinho-ish type tactics. And I'm like, wow, okay.
Mourinho today seemed to is a good example of why. I'm not going to go in on Mourinho. I won't. I'm not going to go in on Mourinho. But what I would say about it, even though, like, obviously, I love how, I have respect for Jose, and I think he's a top manager, and I think he'll do well with Spurs. Yeah. But I would say to the people that this is seeing Mourinho last 2 games as part of one of the reasons why a lot of United fans eventually had issue with the guy. Because certainly against Liverpool, could have won the game easily. Take your chances. We could say they were unlucky. At home to Leicester, okay, put 11 men behind the ball and see what happens. And if it works, if you score the 3rd goal, it works. You can go and break the team down. But when it doesn't work, it can be very difficult to come out of that. And we saw that with Leicester. Today, who are going to play obviously against next game, and we're not going to do that away to Leicester.
Well, and here's the thing for me, like you said, this is exactly how I live my life when it comes to this. You said be fair. It's like these same people. I was just getting it on football Twitter about Scott McTominay. I'm like, okay, I see y'all gassing this guy over one really good performance. This is great. But some of the same guys I'm seeing talk about Scott McTominay, this and that, they're MFing Paul Pogba when he's had some great games the last few days. Where's the fairness? It's all about agenda with our club. And so for me, I just call it the way I see it. I don't get caught up in agendas. And if I do have like an agenda where I think someone's not good enough, when they do good, I'm going to praise them. That doesn't make me a flip-flop. It makes me honest about what I've seen today.
Roxon says McTominay was magnificent. I think he proved today that why he's in the team. Some fans will say he is just replacing Pogba, but we still need good centre back. The defense is still shaky. Yeah, I mean, this is the thing for me. One of the biggest some fans will say he is just replacing Pogba. That shouldn't happen. But for me, the big complaints, and this is why I think there is a particular degree of progression. Is that the biggest complaint we had last season was that we lacked squad depth. That we didn't have the squad depth. That when you could turn to the bench, it was kind of like, what's going on? Now we're suddenly seeing, slowly but surely, that we have a squad, so that, okay, Pogba isn't playing. Okay, but we still had a pretty good performance despite the fact that he wasn't playing. Okay, Greenwood, okay, these players aren't playing, but we still have a solid performance. And for me, that's actually the take home here, in that, are we there yet? No. But at the same time, we're still in a better position where we can actually say, hang on for a second. Look at that bench. You've got Cavani, Greenwood, Van der Beek, and so on to come on. We've got the depth of squads that even if we have 1 or 2 injuries, we can go forward. Before I get into people's man of the match was, I think I need to assure on this. You think Wan-Bissaka needs some competition at right back, a la Telles for sure. Also get some chances. Well, to be honest, and I'll ask you guys this. They were talking about getting Kieran Trippier from Atletico Madrid on a loan. And to be honest, I wouldn't mind that.
Poch sounding to me.
It does sound... Wait, but didn't Poch let him go? Or was it Jose? I thought Poch was the one that let him go.
I think so, maybe.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, would you be happy with him coming on loan or a signing? Or
for me, it depends on how you view Aaron Wan-Bissaka. If you view Aaron Wan-Bissaka as your number 1 right back going forward, absolutely bring him in, because it's a older player who can put in shifts, who can replace him, who can push him, and can teach him and mentor him about certain things and weaknesses in his game.
Wait. Sorry, I need to get this comment. Every United fan would hate to say, but 100% should agree. What Liverpool does is mad. They lose so many players and Klopp doesn't. No. Don't go there about Klopp still doesn't complain about balance. Don't even go there.
Klopp is a huge complainer.
Klopp was complaining about fixtures, complaining about lack of subs, calling out managers like Wilder, etc. I agree with you about Liverpool unit, and that is a great coach. But don't bring that thing about Klopp not complaining, because he was complaining a lot. And even against City and against, certainly against, was it City or Spurs? I was like, dude, you've only made 1 substitution in 90 minutes and you're complaining about injuries. So respect him, brilliant manager, but I'm not hearing anything about that complaining nonsense. No, he's go on.
He's the worst. I mean, he is. And Jose's right. If Jose acted like Klopp does on the sidelines, he'd be getting butchered. But Klopp is a great manager. I mean, I think that there's a lot of Sir Alex in him, how he likes to push the officials and do stuff in the media to get calls his way. And so I don't like it, but I respect it. If he was our manager doing it, I would have time for it. So, but to say he don't complain, that guy's the biggest complainer that there is out there. But back to what you're saying about Aaron Wan-Bissaka, I feel like if Kieran Trippier is someone who is more of a mentor, where if you're looking for someone to push him to take his spot, I wouldn't want him. If you're really looking for that guy that's going to take over full time, I question if all of the gas I hear about Ethan Laird is even close to accurate, because I hear so much about this guy that I would thought by now he'd have got a lot more look-ins, and I think he could push Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So I think if you're looking for someone to push him to take a spot, you go closer to his age or younger. He does need someone. If you're looking for someone to mentor him, then Trippier would be a good shout, in my opinion.
Fair enough. Okay, so just about to round off what has been a brilliant game for United. Let me just quickly 2 seconds, because I think this is an important. Just quickly get to, because I just think it just might be just worth having a good conversation about. There we go. Cool. Oh, wait, so something you read only complain. I said he doesn't complain about balance. Even if he does, he deserves it. How have you seen how many times? Even if he does, he deserves it. Have you seen how many are on the sidelines? That's mad. What do you mean by has he complained about balance? I don't know what you mean by that he hasn't complained about balance. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Is in balance in his team or squad? I mean,
I think he might be saying he hasn't complained about the too much about the players he's lost, maybe, or something. He still was able to.
I think he has. If you look at some of the press conferences they've shown, it's like, I mean, the last one when he was calling out Wilder, he was just like such and such. Anyway, but yeah,
I think Klopp is the perfect example right now of the difference between how United are managed versus Liverpool on the pitch, because we know as Manchester United fans, as much as we don't want to admit it, an injury to someone like Bruno, we're in trouble. Where Liverpool can lose players and still thrive because of how their system, the type of style they play, their system. I think their system makes players look better than they are. I'll tell you this for free. I don't think that Jordan Henderson gets in a 30-man squad for France, but they say he's better than Paul Pogba.
Well, every Liverpool fan is going to will chastise you about that.
I don't care. He's basic, bro. He's basic. Right now.
Someone's saying that Villa are ahead.
I don't like him any more than Scott McTominay, and I don't like Scott McTominay.
Sorry, someone's saying that Aston Villa are ahead, so they're beating West Brom as we speak right now. Sorry, I'm not interrupting you guys. I was just going to round up with, obviously, if everyone can see the table here. Also, just a few quick comments. Rexon says, "Do you think Ward-Prowse should be one of our targets at transfer window?" I don't think. I love his free kick taking. His free kick ability is second to none. But I don't think there's a spacing. We have other priority areas, and centre back and CDM are 1. And yes, 1-0 inside 3 minutes. Who scored? Was that Grealish? No, Anwar El Ghazi. Okay.
I just assume it's Peaky Blinders every time I see Aston Villa's done something.
So looking at that table, obviously Liverpool have got 31 points, 14 games. Leicester, obviously, that win against Spurs, 27 points. United in 3rd place. Goal difference was helped a lot by this Leeds game, to be honest. We've kind of almost reversed the Spurs issue. 26 points, and probably the best form in the last 5 games, if we see that. Everton, 14 with a game in hand, I should say, for United. So if we win our game in hand against Burnley, which we can, we'd be 29 points and we'd be 2nd. Everton, 4th with 26. Spurs, Jose out of the top 4 with 25. Southampton, 24. City, 23. although they've got a game in hand, and so could also. Oh wait, yeah, they have a game in hand like Manchester United as well. Chelsea playing tomorrow, 22 points, and Villa 22 points as well. Just based, let's just say it. Where do you see Manchester United? So I'll come to Damon here before I end with Sean. Where do you see Manchester United ending at the end of the season? I'm not going to say are United going to win the title because I think that's too premature. What I want to say is where do you think we will end? Where do you think we'll place at the end of the season? So, Damien, final thoughts on that. And let me know in the comments as well, guys. Let me know where you think United will end. But sorry, go on, Damien.
I think you guys will finish 3rd place.
Okay.
I think City will have their form back on track. And, I think if United keeps this going, I don't see Tottenham or Chelsea catching up to you with you guys.
Okay.
And I think you guys will finish a strong 3rd place.
Okay, fair enough. And Sean, man, where do you think we will finish at the end of the season?
The gas part of me says number 21 is coming. But that's only, I'll tell you what, if we win every game through the Liverpool game and beat them heads up, then I'll seriously start saying, okay, we could do it.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think we're going to finish 3rd. And for me, I think it's going to be Jose's Spurs. I think that he'll find a way to start getting some results.
Okay.
And, again, as I said earlier, if we played Leeds every week, or if every week a team had to sign a contract that they will play expansive against us, then we win the league. The problem is we're not playing the teams right now. This is the thing. Everyone talks about game in hand. Our game in hand, I believe, is against Burnley. And that's the one team you don't want to play as a United fan. They just sit back and give us tons of trouble. So, I mean, actually, the game that flipped me more than any other game when it comes to the manager was Burnley last year at home. I was done at that point. I was I've tried, I've sung, I've done everything I can. At this point, I agree, G. I think it's going to be, again, I'd like to say 2nd because I think 2nd is very doable. But it wouldn't surprise me if this team finishes 2nd, or it wouldn't surprise me if we finish 5th. Either one wouldn't shock me.
Fair enough. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really rating City this year. If I'm honest, I'm not, and I
don't think they're making top 4.
I think they might. I think they'll finish ahead of Chelsea because I think they'll be more consistent. Chelsea. I think the lamp Chelsea are going to be found out fairly soon. Right now, and we'll see tomorrow against West Ham. If Mikel Antonio turns up, you will see what I mean when I say that I think that despite the fact they spent 200 million, I think that Chelsea are going to struggle. Leicester City and Southampton, especially last season, showed that they got good going forward, but I think coming to the second half of the season, I think that the lack of squad depth will stifle them, and I think they will drop. So really, you're left with Liverpool, Everton, United, and Spurs. I think Josie will still do enough to get 4th, and I think I still put Liverpool as favourites. I think, however, I would probably be an optimistic 2nd, because I think that we will do better away. Because remember, we still have to play City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea away. And United's away record and away form and where we play is better. So I'm actually more confident going into those games away from home than I was them coming, obviously, to Manchester in terms of how we play in the pressure. So I don't think we'll win it. But I think that looking at things, I think that 2nd place isn't an unreasonable expectation. Last comment from Suspect Dream. I thought football was a team game, not individual brilliance. Man with cap. Is that going to you, Sean? Individual brilliance is meant to amplify performance, but isn't team sports meant to work together and achieve?
Yeah, I don't get what he's saying. Obviously, the game is a team sport. It's not about just one player. But our team is heavy. I think he's going back to the Bruno comment. Okay. We're heavily Bruno dependent because our coaching style is one of very free-flowing style. So there are a few players allowed to express themselves. If you watch us play, Bruno goes wherever he wants, whenever he wants. And so he has a huge impact on the match. And if we would lose, I think this is one of the reasons, again, you open up a can of worms with that comment. For me, one of the reasons Donny van de Beek has been froze out a little bit, not just because we know that Ollie wanted Grealish, but also the fact that I don't know if Ollie knows how to get the best out of a guy who's he's a system player. He's a machine, a guy like Donny van de Beek, where guys like Bruno and Pogba, just let them express themselves, let them go out and play. And so I know it's a team game, obviously. There's 11 people out there. I mean, it's not NBA basketball. At the end of the day, I feel like the biggest problem sometimes with our team is that I don't always see us playing as a team. We aren't Liverpool. Even City's goal yesterday, right? City's goal, I've seen that goal 100 times. Like what someone explain to me outside of a counterattack, what is a Manchester United goal? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Outside of getting on the break and getting behind people and individual brilliance, because we got phenomenal attacking players. We got some great players. But ultimately, I just feel like if we would lose Bruno, it would hurt our. Hey, look at last year, what we were before we got him in. I just think that without Bruno, we would need a different system and a tactical manager to get the best out of these players. That's just my opinion.
Fair enough. Right. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really, really appreciate you guys coming on what was a fantastic win for Manchester United. I think our next game, is Everton midweek, and then Boxing Day, I think will be Leicester. Positive all round, so we've got to see what happens, but let's be real. I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be sacked before Christmas. I don't think that's going to be.
I don't think he should. He needs to be there to the end of the season, in my opinion.
That's
no matter what.
Well, that's what I think as well. But more importantly, and I hope everyone can agree, and if especially United fans are saying, now's the time now to put pressure on the board. Okay, now's the time. We're almost in January. Now's the time. No Ollie in or Ollie out. Now's the time to be like, guys, Glazers, Ed, you need to go into the transfer window and go and sign some players. Okay, you need to go in and sign some players. I'm going to be posting a lot of transfer videos, a lot of Ed Woodward must videos, because we need to go and get players in the January transfer window if we're going to build on this momentum that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United have created. Thanks again for watching, guys. Remember, if you're new to the channel, to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter and smash the notification button for latest Manchester United news and reviews. Have a nice day, everyone.